Hey guys, welcome back to another video from me. This time it's about Season 4 kickoff pressure with the changes to the fact you now get momentum when you're kicking off and what that means and what you can do with it. So one of the things I've sort of already said is I feel Season 4 is going to be a faster paced game. Games are going to be over quicker. Just because of the ramp up in damage, the ramp up in goal scoring capabilities. Not a bad thing, it's just what it is. One of the things I've discovered is playing into Season 4, playing a few games with Navigators as well as other teams, is if Navigators get ahead of you, it can get very difficult to get back into the game. Because they can score goals, if you leave the ball anywhere, there's a chance that Navigators will score a goal. If you give them the ball, they are going to score a goal. So if you go for if they score a goal first, if you score one back straight away, they're going to score one back straight away, and that puts them to an 8-4. And you can't score another goal because if you score another goal, they put it to 8-8. They will just score another one back and go to 12. Simple facts. So two options in that. One is you try and keep the ball off them. Not particularly easy. Two is you try and get a goal in first. And that's what I've sort of looked at doing with my morticians last night. Seemed to work really well. Playing Tralix. We had two games. Both games pretty much ended up going the same way. I kicked off. I think my first activation, Bonesaw went in, took the ball off whoever he put it on, and I scored a goal. He could have done some things to improve that and reduce the chances of that happening. He did have some off in the wrong place, so couldn't use the close control to stop me charging in, nicking the ball in the first attack. I didn't have to use the second one. But it was what it was. So I started having to think about that and going, is this a reliable tactic? What other teams can do it? Bonesaw is actually mid-level on the players I'm talking about today. On threat ranges, he doesn't have the biggest threat range, but what he does have is some good allowance ability to allow him to get the dice rolls. And the dice rolls he needs aren't particularly high. He has a bit of flex influence, so it's good. But to start with, let's talk about the obvious golden boy of this tactic. He's in fish, and surprisingly enough, it's Shark. Shark is, ever since Season 1, he's always been able to do this. His tackle isn't momentous, but what he does have is 6 influence and the ability to go a long way. So, on the left you can see a clip bit of a vassal board. I'm not putting terrain in this purely because everybody has different terrain, so there's no point talking about terrain. You can obviously work around terrain and deal with it. Normally there's a way through, and doesn't without reducing your distance. You may have to start slightly off to one side, etc., etc. So take that into account. So Shark has a 7-inch jog when he kicks the ball off, so he's already 7 inches up the pitch from his 10-inch side, so he's 17 inches up the pitch. He's an inch behind the start centre line. That's a good place to start. And then from there, he's got a number of options. The one I've got shown up on here is the longest range, which is do a 3-point tidal surge, pay for the 3-point tidal surge, and charge him. But I mean, he has no spare influence to do that. But if you don't need the full 4 inches, you can use a quick foot to give him an extra 2 inches of movement, which will still get him into a large amount of areas, and it will give you an extra attack if you need it. And obviously, as you can see, he's got quite an area of the pitch he can get into and score a goal. His tackle isn't momentous, but you do have momentum to start the game with. So he's practical with him. And he's a 4-8 kick, so bonus time is nice, but you don't have to do it. Next up on the list It's Scarfer, the new lady on the block. No, okay, she's been around for entire season 3, but nobody really played her. In season 4, oh boy, does she go a long way. As you can see from her markers, she actually can touch the opponent's goal if they put the ball back away. Which is one of the tactics against this sort of thing, is you pass the ball and they dodge backwards, so you can't get it. Or you place a player further back, so it's harder to get to. So the way Scarfer gets that far is, again, she has a 7-inch jog to start with. But the difference is her ability to pass the ball, her ability to get a 4-inch dodge is based off snowballs. So she creates a snowball and throws it and passes it and gets her dodge. And on top of that, she can put a piece of fast grain down. So her 9-inch move is actually an 11-inch move with an inch melee threat. So she's 12. She's going 7 plus 4 plus 11. It goes a long way. And if you want to make sure you get out of potentially she could legendary to do a tackle dodge. And the other thing is for her is her tackle's momentous on 1, so she's generating the momentum as well as doing it, and she's doing it for cheaper than Shark can do, because it's only costing her 2 to get the 4-inch dodge for the correct snowball and pass it. Very nice. Next on the list we have Faris. Go back. Oi. Faris. Not the longest threat range, not the most scary, but she does have a 2-inch melee, which is nice, because it means you can get the ball off somebody with a bit more safety. Potentially she can do some more wacky stuff with Give It a Whack. I haven't taken that into account in this, because if she's not engaged, she can drop the ball and potentially whack it into the goal. I did take the legendary into account. So she's got a 5-inch, and this also she wants to be the captain doing this because she needs to be able to quick foot herself. So she jogs 5. Her first activation, she can quick foot herself to give her +2/+2 to make her a 12-inch move with a 2-inch melee, so a 14-inch threat from that 5 inches. That's quite a way. And I've just realised I've got Shark up on screen, not Faris. There we go. That's Faris. And a 2-inch melee, and she can also use the legendary if she needs to, just to get the extra distance or the extra dice. That's damn to the situation. Will I do this with Faris? If I was playing against a team where I thought I needed to get 4 points up on them before they got 4 points up on me, yes. Against a lot of teams, I wouldn't do it with Faris. Scafer and Shark, it's reliable. Everybody from now on, we're now talking about the slightly less reliable abilities. Again, Faris is momentous, tackle on 2 rather than 1, but it's still reasonably reliable. The other thing is she's a 3 armor per character, which means the counters to get the ball back off it may not happen. So, personal opinion, I would possibly go for it, but I might not. Next up on the list, Velocity, veteran version thereof. This one, I've already realised I've made a mistake on the artwork, the graphics, because in actual fact she can't sprint, she can only jog route 1. So she's got 2 inches shorter range than what it says on there, but that's still nice. So what actual fact it is, it's she'll be 2 inches further back on the last position. Problem with this is there's a route 1, which means you've got to hit the route 1, which isn't a guarantee. The tackle's on 1, so that's not too bad. It's momentous, so potentially you could bonus time the route 1 to try and take the shot to guarantee hit, or making it more like you hit it and then taking the momentum from the tackle to take the shot on goal. Doesn't mean you're not bonus timing it, but if she's engineered, so she's a 4/8 anyway. Probably down to a 3/8 because she's engaged, etc. But still reasonably viable. This is one I would try on because, again, she's reanimate, she's defense 5. It's a bit of a pain to kill her, and she's fast enough to get back into the game. After she does this, the killer, she can go back in and move back up and be back in the game by mid-turn 2, depending on positioning, potentially turn 2, but she'll definitely be back up for turn 3. So I've definitely considered doing this with Velocity. Next on the list, we have Shank. This is another one where I probably wouldn't do it again a lot of the times because it's not reliable. Simple as. What it is if you do need to do it, you can do. Shank has a 5-8 move, so he jogs 5, he sprints 8, he got away, you go for 4. So what you'll probably do is move up 5, where you go for another 4, and then charge from there and try and get the tackle off. Tackle's not momentous, which is a pain, but it's what it is. And it's only a 2 dice kick on goal, so if he's engaged, hopefully he's on a 1-minute melee person, so you can grab it and not be engaged and just kick it and hope you're alright. But it's not particularly reliable. But what he is he's tat 6 plus 4. He might get a wrap with a bit of luck, and his first result is momentous. So if you get a wrap, you do get the second momentum. But again, Shank is not somebody I'll try and do this with often. It is possible, but not always useful. Next up, we have Mist, who, going back to the other end, this is reliable. This is going to happen more often than not. So she moves up 6. She sprints 8. She can acrobatic 2. So she's 16 inches up straight away. If there's a bit of cover that she can stand next to, either on the move up or with an acrobat beforehand, so she can get a cover of darkness move, so she goes an extra 2. She goes to a 10-inch move, and that becomes a lot more relaxed. Again, she's a 2-inch melee. Her momentous tackle's on 1. It's all good. So she can tackle the ball and take a shot and goal with a bonus time. It's reliable, it's good, and the opponents will hate it. Next up, we have Fathom. Due to the fact that this was originally coming up as a what can you do about navigators, Alex and me were looking at what was the potential of navigators actually kicking the ball and doing it back. Honest answer, Windfinder can do it, not great. Fathom can do it. Fathom's reliant on terrain though, and it's not. I don't like it because she moves up 5. She can move 8. Got acrobatic for 10. Her heroic play gives her an extra 4-inch dodge, so she can get quite away. The problem is, it's heroic, which means she's using the momentum for that she wants for the shot and goal. And that means she then needs to get 4 hits on the successful charge to get her tackle double dodge. It's not reliable. But in a pinch, you can do it against some of the lower defence teams. It might be worth trying. It's worth considering. It's worth thinking about what you can do. And last up, we have Bonesaw, who's the person who started this discussion all off in the first place. This one I've done a slightly different one because I've put him off at an angle. So just to show you what I will try and do, which is basically kick the ball off to a side, make it difficult for him to get back to get it, but get it, but only be able to pass to one end of the pitch, making it slightly more control where I know where the ball's going to end up after kicking it, and after them collecting it and receiving it, getting it back to their team. A couple of things that potentially could happen. One is they don't get it back to their team. They sit on it over in the corner. Bonesaw at that point possibly will charge the person that's sitting on the ball and try and unspectral rival them off the pitch. That's always annoying. Or if he doesn't, if I can, going for the goal score. He's, again, reliable doing it. His tackle's on momentous tackle on 1. Tap 5, 4 dice. So he's rolling 9 dice. He's needing 1 success plus however much armor he's got. So he's reasonably reliable. And he then needs a 3-8 kit, and he has potentially has a meditation if they haven't countered and you don't have to tackle the ball a second time. Meditation does make this a lot more reliable. Rerolls are good. There's no if, buts, or maybes on that. So overall, that's what I'm saying, and that's what I'm happy with. What I am just going to do is, last thing up on here is, this is a list of the players that I've gone through and gone, these are the people technically who can do this. None of them are a good option. The guys in red, actual fact, are an inch short. you need 18 inches to get to the opponent's deployment zone on that line. If the 17 isn't good enough, but what that 17 does allow you to do is, if they've dodged up, you can get in. And most of them have a long enough kit. They've got the kit threat range to potentially nick the ball out of point and score a goal. So it might not be activation 1, might be activation 2 or 3, depending on what they do. But it is a threat, so I've left them in there. Those are the ones in the red. The ones in the blue are, they can do it, but I'm not sure I would try and do it. The ones in the greens are the ones which are pretty good at it and probably going to do it more often than not. Surprisingly enough, top of that list is Skyfer, Skark, and Season Brisket. They're all captains. Big surprise there. They're all striker captains. Fathom and Windfinder are there. Veteran Velocity there, and I've also put Salt in there. I'm not sure Salt should be there because of the 4-inch kick. He probably isn't going to get the ball and be able to score a goal. But he's in there because he's got quite a good threat range. I haven't put Bonesaw in there because, as I said, Bonesaw is actually quite a way down the list. But he's if you've got the range, he's one of the most reliable at doing it because of rerolls. So teams you got to watch out for this sort of thing for are the Hunters, the Fish, the Order, Engineers. Are probably the main people who say it. You can do it in Butcher, Blacksmith. You can do it in most teams. I mean, it's just a matter of a lot of the others aren't particularly great options, so I probably wouldn't try it. But if you think you need to, it's there. And as I said, into Navs, I feel you want to get 4 VPs on the board before they get 4 VPs on the board, purely and simply because it puts them under pressure, and that really messes Navs up. Navs are strong. If you let them get ahead, they're difficult to catch up. So my opinion is I'll go for it if I've got an option of trying it with Navigators and it's going to cost me a player. The point is 2 VPs down when they're already going to be 4 VPs up because they're scoring a goal, potentially 8 VPs up because they've scored 2 goals. It's the 2 VP thing. I'll probably go for it if I feel I've got a better than 50% chance of doing it, or around 50%, because I feel that's good odds. And there's stuff I can do after that to try and keep the character alive and do and it also pushes the navigator. If they decide to beat on the character, the navigators are then sat back on their line because it doesn't. They can kill players, but it takes 2 or 3 people to do it. So half of their team on the back line rather than up in the middle and causing me goal threats from every angle going, I still think it's reasonable. So that's where it's come from, and that's what I'm thinking. I may be wrong, but we'll see. That's my opinions. What is yours? I mean, put some comments in below and tell me what you think. Am I talking absolutely idiotic ideas, or do you think this is actually something which is worth talking about because of this bonus momentum we're starting with as a kicker? Now, does that make the kick-off pressure in Season 4 that much stronger? Me personally, yes, it does. Other people will disagree, though, I'm sure. But for now, goodbye.